Hello and welcome, Magic lovers. This week's deck of the week is Prossh, Skyramper of Kerr. I've been looking at this deck for a while, and then a couple weeks ago a viewer sent me their deck list that they had managed to get a 5-0 with, and I've been testing the deck and I really like it. In testing, I managed to get a turn 4 win by ramping out Prossh on turn 3 and then putting a Pattern of Rebirth on one of the tokens and then sacrificing that token to get a Craterhoof Behemoth, and my opponent was just bewildered. And there's actually a few other ways that you can get like turn 4 or 5 wins. Either, basically you just ramp out Prossh and then either you play a Beastmaster's Ascension or you play Run. Those are all ways. I mean, they don't give them trampled, but there's enough power on the tokens that you can get through like 2 or 3 blockers with either of those routes. And then there's also just a bunch of other cool things that you can do with the tokens. Even if Prossh gets countered or killed, you can use the tokens for mana, you can use the tokens for cards, and there's plenty of things to do. And this deck's pretty cool because it's like a green ramp deck, but you can also play red and black, and you definitely get the benefits of that. You get removal and other things like that, other cool things that you can do. So, yeah, I really like this deck. I'm going to try it out in the league. Alright, it's match 1. I am on the play. Playing against Kess. I have a Mana Elf. Couple of lands. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep this. Catacomb Skifter is technically a ramper. Not the best ramper in the world, but it counts. There's a good chance this Arbor Elf dies. And then we want a Bayou. I just switched from a blue-black deck, so I was looking for an Underground Sea. Oh, Mental Misstep. Oh, that sucks. Alright. About the same as getting it killed. It's going to slow me down actually quite a bit. It's one of the ways this deck can lose the most is if somebody interferes with all your ramp. That doesn't really do anything. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills and says go. I fear a counter here, and I want the body of the Catacomb Sifter more, so I'm going to play that second after I play this Wood Elves. Yeah, there's a counter. Although this one's a hard land, whereas this one's just a, a token, but Memory Lapse. Okay. Not great. Because it means that there's no chance I'm drawing a land now. Memory Lapse is a brutal card if played at the right time. Alright, tap land. So, I'm just going to go ahead and play it again. No sense giving them extra information. Let's hope we don't get remanded or something like that. Opt, okay. Alright, there we go. Got a lot of black going on here. So, I might just... Yeah. I'm going to pay 2 life for the Overgrown Tomb tapped, or untapped. So just in case on this dismember there, Alright, there's a Jace. They're fate sealing me. I put a card on the bottom. Alright. That gets me to Prossh next turn. But Catacomb Sifter attacks Jace. Also hits my land drop this turn. Let's attack first. I don't know. I think I'm going to sift. That Jace is a huge card advantage engine. If we hit a land next turn, we still get the Prossh. If we don't, we still have the Kadama's Reach. Alright, they're fate sealing. This does play into Toxic Deluge a bit. But I don't hate getting it out of the way early. Damnation. Alright. I think I gotta keep that. That was all of the wrong land tapping there. There we go, that's better. There is an off chance I'm going to beast within one of my own lands on my end step. On their end step. Forest, swamp. Doesn't super matter. Oh, I already played a land. Yeah, I played the tower, so I couldn't have done that anyways. Alright. Not in a good position here. That Jace is eating my... well, they're not getting card advantage from it, but it's a ticking time bomb. I guess I could beast within it. Now they're drawing with it. On the bright side, I know from experience that that deck does not always have the counters that it wants. It doesn't run like a critical mass. It's not a Jace Vryn's Prodigy deck or something like that, where you pretty much always have a counter. Are they playing Kess? I would like that very much. Oh, jeez. Alright, well, we're getting Planeswalkered out pretty hard here. What? That's crazy. Alright. Well, one beast within isn't going to do that much. I just got to play this thing and pray. We could still draw something that makes all these tokens really big. Prossh lived that far. Opponent can bounce it with Jace. It's out of range of the Chandra -3. Alright, they're brainstorming with Jace. They are adding mana with Chandra. Snapcaster Damnation. Oh. Getting brutalized pretty hard here. Now I'm more worried about this Chandra ultimate. Yep. I think I gotta just keep going for it. There's only so many of those you can really reasonably be expected to survive. And I have survived 2 of them so far. Let's hope we don't get countered here too. Jeez. Yeah. Alright. Still have outs. Still have outs. Not many. I don't think the Beast Within would have gone any better if I tried to Beast Within a land on my end step. And it also would have taken me off the possibility of casting Prossh at some point in the future. Or slowed it down quite a bit. So... And at this point, we're probably getting countered constantly. My opponent is looking at 6 cards a turn. Fortunately, there's nothing worrisome in their graveyard. There's just the Opt. Is the only spell they can reasonably cast. Now there's a Toxic Deluge in their library, in their graveyard. I don't think this deck can beat 3 Wraths. And there's Kess. And are they doing the Opt? This deck is brutal when it wants to be. And Jace. Another Planeswalker. Fan-frickin-tastic. Alright, I do kind of have a Crater Behemoth doesn't do it. So, can I play this? Beast Within Chandra, because Chandra goes off next turn. Toxic Deluge for 4. Alright, that's something. They're still looking at 6 cards a turn. And I think I need a land to play Prossh. Prossh gets countered so hard, though. So does Craterhoof Behemoth. Unless they play all their mana again. They only have 2 cards in their hand, which should not be possible. Alright, they are dark petitioning for something. Is it another Planeswalker? They tapped all their mana. Oh. Well, I didn't really have an option to leave Dismember up, unfortunately. I don't think they can recast that post-cast. Cast costs 6 mana. But they can gain a ton of yard advantage in card selection. And I can't really do anything about it. Ugh. That can't be good for me. Well, they can't get 3 extra turn spells. They can't get Snapcaster Mage. Well, they can get 2 and a Cryptic Command. It's a difficult choice, honestly. I don't want to straight give them an extra turn. There's an arena. They're going to keep up the Cryptic Command, aren't they? That makes sense. I could run out the Cryptic Command now. They now, if they play a land, they have enough to cast and then immediately play the extra turn spell, and then they can't counter my Dismember. I don't like using the Craterhoof Behemoth right here. I'd like to look for a window where I can actually get it to work. Let's play the Bombardment, though. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 mana. Doing my best to try and find a window. there's the land. I don't get priority between them playing Kess and them playing the extra turn spell. But I get it immediately after they play the extra turn spell. So they at least can't do that again. But they can replay Kess, and now they can block and protect their... Ugh. I forgot about that. It's actually a lot of mana for them. I told it to do that at 3 a.m. Why didn't it do that at 3 a.m.? Oh, they also ticked up on Jace. And they have enough for another extra turn spell? Yeah, alright. They have 2 more extra turn spells. I'm not getting back into this. Alright, it's match 2. I'm on the draw. I've got a Mana Elf, and I've got Fire Covenant, which is a pretty awesome spell against Thrasios and Tymna. I played 3 games again in another opponent in practice, 3 in a row, where the guy was playing Thrasios and Tymna, and 2 of them I drew Fiery Covenant and just completely blew them out. And the second time I was like, I'm sorry? Like, we were having a conversation and stuff, and it was an absolute blowout. I could Phyrexian Tower, sacrifice the elf, and play the Hedron Archive, but I don't think that's something I want to do. I might just lose this elf. Mother Rune's a bit more complicated. That's an exceptional draw for my opponent. I could do that to play into the Toxic Deluge. So there's a couple scenarios here. I bolt the Judge's Familiar, and then they probably don't attack with the Mother of Runes, but then they have an active Mother of Runes. And then at some point I'm Toxic Deluging my Elvish Mystic away. I could use the mana in another turn. So I could keep it around as a blocker, and if they attack with it, then I'll 100% block. If they kill it, then they're not casting Thrasios. So that's that scenario. The other scenario is I bolt the Mother of Runes right now. They get in with the Tymna and the Judge's Familiar, and then again I can Fire Covenant at a later turn, but they've drawn a card. They 100% draw a card in that route. Which they're down to 3 cards. Or the third scenario is I do nothing. I mean, I pretty much have to bolt one of these 2 things, I think. Because I could conceivably, in a later turn, tap the Elvish Mystic, sack it, play another land, play the Hedron Archive, and then Toxic Deluge. So I think I bolt the Judge's Familiar and stop them from drawing a card. I think that's the right route. Oof. Didn't see that one coming. Alright. I can't stop him from drawing a card. But I still get a Toxic Deluge. I can still do the Phyrexian Tower. Oh no, I can't play another land, can I? Oh, I've already played the land. Oh, I can't play around the Judge is Familiar is the problem now. Well, I guess I can go for a big Fire Covenant. Or I could just play the Wall of Roots. What did they get here? Skull Clamp. A lot of complex decisions early on. So if I mean, I could just wrath them right now. Killing my own elf. But then I don't get the Hedron Archive. If I wait a turn, I get the Hedron Archive. I'm trying to decide, oh, I can... No, then they can counter the Fire Covenant if I play the Wall of Roots. I'm just going to say go. I think that's the right play. It's real close. They found a land. If they play Tymna, I can still get a pretty good blowout, I think, with the Fire Covenant. They can only protect one creature. It's got to be either an attacker or Tymna. I'm just trying to find a window to get the maximum value for Tymna. They're having trouble with the Wooded Bastion. There you go. This card is stupid. They can force me to pay 1 life by sacrificing the Judge is Familiar. But all in all, that's a pretty big blowout, I think. Even if they save something. And they're going to save something. It's just a matter of what. We're saving Tymna. Alright, we stopped him from drawing a card. Which is a critical thing to do against Tymna decks. I want to Hedron Archive and play the Wall of Roots without having the Elvish Mystic tapped, but that's not an option. Well, I could Wall of Roots. No. Still requires the Hedron... because if they get the Wall of Roots out of the way, at least we have a giant Prossh next turn. Still don't want to give him any information about that Phyrexian tower. Opponent might play around it if they know it's there. We know one of their cards is Skull Clamp. Thrasios is not a human, so they need a blue land in order to play Thrasios. Alright, opponent plays Green Sun Zenith for 0. Oh, they're going to Skull Clamp the Dryad Arbor to draw cards. It's a bit of a desperation move. But, you know, I mean, it's a good play. Might dig him out of this. All right. But they're facing down a giant dragon next turn. And it looks like they might not have hit a land. So that's pretty lucky on my part. Alright, they did hit a breeding pool. And they actually took like a minute or two to decide. And they're equipping Tymna. I guess they can gain 3 life by attacking into the Wall of Roots. Nope. I mean, that's... it gains them life. I might as well play this Nature's Lure. I don't know. Trying to decide if I need to keep the Phyrexian tower untapped or not. I tapped both of my black-green. Probably not. Yeah. It's a good bluff. Tapping the Elvish Mystic doesn't really do anything, but intentionally keeping is going to immediately make them think Dismember. And they don't know what the last card in my hand is. I don't know if they do anything to play around Dismember here. But the cost of tapping an Elvish Mystic isn't a ton. Skull Clamp strikes again. I do have some outs to Skull Clamp. I do have Call Against Command. A couple other spells like that in my library. Human Dark Confidant, huh? Alright, well... it might be time to Toxic Deluge. Oh, I have my own Skull Clamp. Wow, that's so good. Alright, let's attack. Now I'm definitely Toxic Deluging. I can Skull Clamp, kill all my own creatures. Toxic Deluge to kill all their creatures. That way I'm not worrying about the Crackback, I'm not worrying about Dark Confidant, I'm not worried about the Skull Clamp on their 1/1s. I probably could have counted up how much mana I have and figured out how many of those I should have sacked, because I probably should have sacked 1 or 2 of those. Although I do probably draw land here. That one enters the battlefield tapped. That sucks. Wait. That's a Westphal Abbey. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I can do that, and then I can still Wrath. I can still Toxic Deluge, and I get to keep everything but the Elvish Mystic, and then they get to keep nothing. So, but Fire Covenant is a stupid spell, but you usually want to wait until you have the right opening to get maximum value for it. You don't always want to fire it off right away. So I spent quite a bit of time focusing on when would be the right time to fire Covenant, and I think it really paid off there. Alright, it's match 3. I am on the play. Playing against Edgar Markov. Ooh, this is iffy. I think I keep it. Search for Tomorrow a little more reliable than Deathrite Shaman, but I don't know. The upside of Deathrite Shaman, Wall of Roots, Search for Tomorrow next turn is pretty hard to pass up here. This has to be a red land, unfortunately. We could just play the Grim Monolith next turn. Alright. Alright, well that's a lane at least. Let's... I think I'm going to play the Wall of Roots. Oops. Need green mana. I'm probably going to have to search for tomorrow for a swamp. And I'm probably not blocking the 1/1. But I can save 2 life by blocking the Lacerator. And they put a land in the graveyard, so that's pretty awesome. A little bit risky. They might have something to do here, but they could also kill my Deathrite Shaman if they have any. Ugh. Alright, well there goes the Grim Monolith. But they didn't play another creature. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that what we're dealing with here? 5 mana? Yeah, 5 mana. So next turn I can play it. So I definitely don't want to use the Deathrite Shaman to Dreadbore something. I'm a little bit on pins and needles. A removal spell blows me out pretty hard here. They haven't had one yet. Although I could just draw another land next turn and then I'm fine. Alright, they're drawing 2 cards. Hopefully not Lightning Bolt. Not an entirely free block. But it's nice that it worked out, that block. Alright, well. Doesn't especially matter what color, because we have all our colors here. Let's just go for the giant Prossh. Seems pretty good here. I think something like that's pretty hard for my opponent to beat. They could just have a removal spell. Then we still have the 0/1s though. It makes it really hard for them to eat away at my life. Until we eventually find a way to deal with it or cast it again or... Alright, Drana. Drana's good, but we have a Dreadbore. And Quill draws Vampire, which is a 1/1. And I don't think they have an attack. Nope. Alright. Oh. Well, I really want this Dreadbore. Can I Dreadbore and Westbale Abbey? I don't think I can. This thing doesn't have vigilance, does it? Flying, lifelink, indestructible, haste. I can always kill Drana the next turn. And we're gaining 9 life. If only there were a land in the graveyard. It's so hard to pass up a 5/5. So much better than a 5/5. It's a 9/7 indestructible flying lifelink haste. I'm worried they could like wrath me after attacks or something like that. I don't think they play Toxic Deluge. That'd be a pretty stupid card for them to play. Can I survive a hit from Drana though? That's the real question here. Oh yeah, it wouldn't even matter if I had a... Why can I tap mana? Why does this thing show up? But this one doesn't. Way to register all my clicks, Magic. We still have 3 blockers back. Although, Drana makes them not great. I can't even block a 1/1. And my opponent's at 10 life. So, I'm not sure they can even attack with Drana. Alright, Air Falcon Wrath. What's it transform into? A 3/2 flyer. This is not what you usually see. Alright, 9s, they kill the Prossh. Where the Edgar opponent is at 9 life and the opposing player is at 37 life. I'm not 100% sure I should have let Drana get through. Making those all 2/2s is a pretty big deal. But I win here, right? I thought they were at 10 life, they're at 9 life. Unless they have swords. Still dies. Alright, whew. That might have been a little bit risky. If they had had swords, they probably would have played it sooner, but still, that was a bit risky. Or maybe you should have just killed the Drana and let them chump with that thing and waited another turn. But, I guess, results-oriented, that was awesome. Alright, got match 4. I am on the play again, which is great. Playing against Kraum and Thrasios. I do not have turn 1 ramp, but I do have a pretty good hand. It's a little bit slower, though. I think it would be unwise to mulligan it. Alright, they've mulliganed to 5. Not necessarily indicative things. I've had opponents mulligan 4 and still get god hands. format's a little bit more forgiving. Alright. Do I just Bitter Blossom? There's only a couple spells that can get me. Whereas next turn there's more spells that can get me. Or I can just ramp. And then I can ramp and Bitter Blossom next turn. I'm getting a Bayou either way. I think ramp is pretty integral to the deck. Bitter Blossom is good, but I think I need the ramp. Let's go ramp. Alright, successful on the ramp. Let's get a Stomping Ground. Maybe they'll counter my ramp. Oh, I guess. If they do, then I don't. Okay, yeah, I do have. Maybe we can get them to counter that. Alright. I'm going to get Overgrown Tomb untapped, just in case. Alright, Bitter Blossom resolved. Okay, and my 2 ramp spells. So I have 1 land away from playing Prossh. And my opponent has missed a land drop. Alright, guess we just play the elves. And say go. Opponent missing another land drop. I don't want to miss the window to cast this Prossh. If I go to a combat, they could... Oh, they have blue-green. They don't have red. They could bounce the elf. I guess that's not the biggest problem in the world. Let's move to combat first. It seems like Prossh could get countered anyways. I don't really care. But it could happen. Nope, there's a counter spell. They could not tap faster. But we still get a bunch of tokens. Hopefully we can find something to do with those tokens. There's quite a few spells that can kill our opponent out of nowhere with all these lands. Nissa gets them a land. It's got to be a basic forest. Alright, Blooming Marsh is tapped. And I'm going to play the Search for tomorrow. I tapped my mana a little funky. Oh, this enters the battlefield untapped, so I'm fine. And I'm not going to kill Nissa yet. I have Fire Covenant that could kill both of them. And that allows me to hold the Dismember. And I believe I can resolve Prossh here. I'm going to do it before combat. So they don't, like, bolt my, Well, I'm playing into a Wrath a bit. Oh, they have Force of Will. Alright. That sucks. At least it gets 2 cards out of their hand. But man, that was a good draw. Send a message. Maybe it'll play something like Sylvan Library or something like that that we can... Kraum doesn't worry me. Let's just get Kraum out of the way. I really feel like I'm playing into a Wrath here. Do you want to hold on to the Deathrite Shaman just in case? It lets me hit my commander again next turn, so I don't think I do. Attacking with 0/1s, just because I can. Ancestral Vision. Thrasios. And attack first. Let's hope they don't have days this time. Or can I just play around it? Nope. Nope, need all my mana. They could just have a removal spell. But now they need a flying blocker because Prossh does 12 damage easy. Almost doesn't need to. Actually, we got enough tokens here. They're on a 2-turn clock no matter what. Alright, they got removal or something. Cyclonic Rift. Starstorm. Oh my god. Alright, yeah, that's... I'm not going to pretend like that's not a big blowout. Play the Warden Power Stone. Play that thing. I don't think playing Reclamation Sage for no value does anything. Alright, Ancestral's still at 2 counters. They can cast a Kraum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I can recast. Ooh, Chandra's big. Into something else. Thrasios. Alright. Alright, well, Toxic Deluge, not something I'm super worried about using right now. I don't have enough. Oh. Wow. All right. See what I mean about mulligans? I think they mulliganed to 5, but man, they found a way. Now I'm down to 14 life because of this Bitter Blossom. There's Kraum. I'm almost certainly Toxic Deluging next turn. Alright. I'll take 1 damage. No, it might hit my commander. I don't love doing this though. They can hit me for 4, and then I'm in a pretty bad way. Should I just wait? Chandra's ticking up. Although that doesn't... Yeah. It's just Farseek. I think Chandra's going to kill me. And there's the Ancestral Vision. Oh, brutal. I don't think I necessarily did anything wrong. My opponent just drew all the answers. That Force of Will was very clutch. As was the Starstorm. Alright, well, I'm blocking here. I'm keeping them off of Chandra or they're wrathing. Either way, doesn't really matter. I guess they could have a single targeted removal, and then that block would be bad. What do you get with Expedition Map? Wasteland. Oh, brutal. So now I need to draw land. Alright. Ugh, not a land. Toxic Deluge kills me at this point. But so does Chandra. Wow. What a blowout. What an absolute blowout. Yeah, Toxic Deluge kills me. Chandra kills me. Just making sure that I counted this right. Oh, man, that was a shame. I really felt like I was ahead. Alright, match 5. This one's for all the peanuts. I am on the play. Let's hope for a good hand. Playing against Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, and this hand is not keepable. Alright. I gotta keep that. I don't really want to keep that. I don't know if I can. But I don't know if I have to. I think I have to. Jace is going to be a problem. Let's go ahead and Thought Seize. Mental Note, Remand, Taxing Probe. Let's take the extra planar lens. Some cool art. So they can remand are my Wood Elves, and that's going to suck. But I've taken most of the gas out of their hand. Alright, there's a Myriad Landscape. That's what they drew this turn. Or with the Gataxian Probe. I guess they might just be looking to play Jace this turn. But hand disruption can be pretty effective against... Ooh. Oh, that's an awesome draw. And their counterspell's down. That was a very good draw. I guess we go Bayou. Or should I guess Overgrown Tomb? I'm not using the mana this turn. Might as well get a tapped land. And they have a Mental Note, so they're probably fist flipping Jace here. They could remand our Prossh, which would suck a bit. Oh, they didn't flip it. I could just make a token. Because I have enough mana to cast Prossh right now. Let's attack first. Yeah, if they remand, they're not Myriad Landscaping. I think they pretty much have to remand here. Mental Note. These went in the graveyard. I've seen at least 2 of the islands. Here's a remand. Alright. Then I'm going to make a 3/3. Since they didn't make Prossh more expensive, I'm not really that worried about. And there's a few cards I can draw here that would actually just win me the game. Not many though, so I'm not going to expect it. So the remand's gone. I don't know how many islands they still have. Mental Note's gone. They have 7 cards in hand. So I know about almost none of their cards. There's nothing super great in their library or in their graveyard that they can flash back. And then I believe my attacks take them out of flashback range. They go up to 6. They take 2 power off, so they lose 2. You know, I forgot about Grooks. I should not have made a beast token. I'm not going to do that again. Bribery. Alright, so they're taking a prime time. They're 100% taking a prime time. I don't think yep. The overrun doesn't win just yet, but it does win the following turn. Although we have to block this prime time. Alright, that spares... Ugh. Alright, see what we can do here. See, it mostly depends on what my opponent does here. Like flashback Bribery, but Primeval Titan's by far my best creature. Yeah. Well, I don't think taking up would have done it, because these just would have been 4/4s. So it's 24 damage through a prime time, and then this is a 4/4, so it would have done a lot of damage to them. So this is the critical turn. If they can disrupt Grook, or if they just go off. They don't have a lot of cards in their hand. They need something to untap with. Alright, looks like they're attacking with prime time. I have to protect Garruk. A bounce spell on the beast is pretty bad. I could just put 6 tokens in front of it. Like, I can't let this thing take 1 point of damage. So if they have a bounce spell, it's pretty bad. I could put Prossh the beast and some number of tokens in front of it. And then they choose the tokens, because those, I don't know. I think 3 tokens. I think this plays around a bounce spell. Also forces them to reorder everything. Doesn't really play around 2 bounce spells. It kind of does. Alright, yeah, that's the correct order. Primeval Titan is dead. So that's good. Alright. Are we passing the turn? 8 mana, 9 mana. Oh! So brutal. Jeez. How did they draw that? Now they can cast both of these spells and then not attack. They can also just sacrifice all the tokens. Jeez. They always draw the Emrakul, man. Oh. I despise this Jace deck, honestly. I think it's a canary in the coal mine for the format when a deck like this is doing well, and it is doing really well these days. I think it's a really bad sign for the format, because these are not the type of decks that you want to see doing well in a format if you want the format to be fun. Oh, they're targeting me. Oh, they discarded the Skull Clamp. So that's my thought on this Jace deck. It's not a good deck to be at the top of the format. I really wish they had a banned as commander only, because I think Jace is a really good target for that, because Jace is awesome in the format. I love him as a card in your 99, but as a commander, it is not a fun deck to play against, like, because it just does nothing for like 5 turns, and then it just takes a million turns usually, or does something really, really stupid. And I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think this is a particularly interesting deck, and I don't think that having it be at the top of the format is a desirable thing. So they're sacrificing all my tokens. And I assume they're going to kill Prossh. This is a completely brutal play. They were playing as though they didn't have anything, and then they just slammed down the Emrakul. Not great. So they can't sack them all. They gotta leave me with one. That's something, right? No, it's not really anything. I do still kind of have a chance. Unless they overrun Garruk. Yeah, they could overrun it after combat. That's just like all... That is like a frickin' 8 for 1. Because they took the hit, they took the Skull Clamp, they took my commander, they took Garruk. I guess it's only 4. But man, it was brutal. Yep. And I get to keep a 0/1. Look at me. So I can draw a land. Are you really going to play the Hedron Archive? Oh, they're just going to tap the mana for 2 mana. Yeah, there's no way they're playing a Hedron Archive. Does that give me my commander? No, it doesn't. So I take 13, then I play my commander, and then I probably lose. This was a close one. I was a turn away from winning. It's interesting, though, because Kess does the same thing as Jace. It actually does it better with a flashback ability, but for some reason it feels less oppressive. Probably because it's just a more interesting deck. Like, it's like a true control deck, and like those kind of decks are... I don't know. Maybe it's just my opinion, but I think I'm not the only one that doesn't like Jace as at the top of the format. It just feels... It's not at all a fun deck to play against. Alright, they're flashbacking Glimmer of Genius. Because they actually only have 1 card in their hand. Alright, are they taking another turn? I'm dead if they're taking another turn. Oh. Alright, well I'm dead in it too. This is another reason I hate the Jace decks, because Temporal Fissure is a disgusting card. And a lot of times this deck wins before it actually wins. Like, it establishes control, but it doesn't do anything for many, many turns. Alright, I don't think there's any way I can win here. I guess I'll wait for my draw. But Toxic Deluge for 13 isn't going to do it. This isn't one of the cases where it wins before it wins. It just got Emrakul. That was a great draw. Alright. We're dead. There is nothing I can do. That's too bad. I came really close. Twice now. So, I'm sure people will tell me if I misplayed, but honestly, I don't think I really misplayed in any of those games. This deck has a hard trouble against control decks. Jace was alright. I mean, it's not really a control deck. It's just they drew Emrakul, and that was a complete blowout. But the other ones, the other two control decks, when you're dealing with counter spells, targeted removal, and wraths, like that combination of cards in a deck and a critical mass of all of them, it's going to be pretty hard for this kind of a deck to beat. When you're dealing with Tymna style tempo decks where they're not playing that many counter spells, they're playing targeted removal, but that doesn't matter as much because they're trying to get in, and Tymna relies on getting in and getting that card advantage, and if you can stop that really early, which this deck is specifically very good at doing, then you can stop them from getting that card advantage. They don't draw into the critical mass of targeted removal spells, and then they can't get through your 0/1 tokens, even if they counter Prossh. Then you've got an advantage there, and against Edgar Markov, you saw, we just ramped up. The Edgar Markov has what I like to call aggro removal, where, you know, in a control deck you play a lot of removal, and you're looking to get rid of most of your opponent's creatures. In an aggro deck, you're looking for just the right amount of targeted removal to get rid of problematic creatures from your opponent, while not making your aggro deck suffer by not having enough creatures to get in for damage. So that's what Edgar Markov runs, and so we were able to keep our Deathrite Shaman alive in order to get the mana, because they don't really want to be playing a turn 1 removal spell anyways. They want to be getting in for damage, and then we only saw one removal spell that whole game, and it ended up being too late. So this deck's good against those kind of decks, and it's bad against the pure control decks. And I've had some trouble against Jace in testing and there, and then I've had some success. It does have, you know, this deck has the things that you want against Jace. It has removal. It has hand disruption. Hand disruption is actually really good against Jace because you can disrupt their plan. They can still top deck, which they do more often than you think they should, but they do. And then it can be, at least you have the pressure to keep it going. So got a 2 and 3. I really wanted a 3 and 2. I haven't had a lot of luck in tournaments, and the previous tournaments it's been somewhat my fault that I lost the tournaments. But this one, I don't know. I just got a little unlucky with my matchups and got beaten by some control decks, and then got really unlucky with that top deck of Emrakul. So try not to be too salty. I did get a little salty about that. I'm sorry, guys. I usually try not to get emotional, but I really, really hate Jace Vryn's Prodigy decks. I really hate them, honestly. They're miserable to play against, and I try not to get salty, but I do not like that deck. But I digress. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a cool deck. I really like it. It does some really cool things. So you might want to try it out. You might have better luck than I did. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.